the mic on? Okay. We should be hearing everything now. Okay. So, what are we going to have a look at today? So, that is something that I found in a project showcase on a, by the way, a Discord chat I really like so far. It basically generated in like out of nothing in like 2-3 days. It was with hundreds of people that are actually like beginners and learning to code, and some of them a little bit more experienced, some of them like completely at the beginning, but nonetheless. So there is one channel that basically is kind of like a product showcase. So that kind of like show off Saturday things on Reddit. On there you can basically post that whenever you feel you're done or want to have feedback or whatever. So what we're going to do is to kind of basically run this first and basically see what we need. So we have an old version in here. Let's ignore that probably. That I'm not even going to open this publicly, and then let's see what we have in the index.js. Okay, so we're using Mongo DB, and okay, that's already interesting how that is done, but fair enough. That is, or MyDB, Okay, that could probably be simplified a lot, but let's ignore that for now. So we're using Pug and Express as a template engine, and here is, why is this marked? Type invert my object. Okay, let's forget that. So insert score, and then we basically have a select collection to array, okay, and put that in. Okay, client connect, this is what's happening. And then the app listens. So that's an interesting way of writing it. I mean, of course, since this will happen asynchronously, I guess it doesn't matter. But it is interesting nonetheless, right? Because so you would normally write this at the bottom after you defined kind of your routes, which is fine. I say, okay, so the increment is add to score. I'm gonna await that, so that's probably a promise. So that's up here. So that's all happening in the index. Okay, and score count, and then okay, so we set the parse and get score, which is query score collection, find one query. Okay, so he's getting this, or she's getting this, or whoever, and then basically returns it. Yeah, I guess that works. So I'm actually interested in the schema, which of course I will not be able to find, right? So the whole database is a little bit of a mystery to us. Yeah, where is score collection? Okay. Where do we have our score collection? Okay, so that's DB collection, which we get from client DB. Fair enough. And wait, I still don't get it. Okay, so I directly get the client back and then make this connection with the DB name. Okay, I guess that works. Let's see if we can run it. So first thing I need to do, of course, is to include Express and so on. So I just assume that's about what I will find. Yeah, Express, Mongo, and Pug. Got it. So let's run an npm-i here quickly and see what that leaves us with. It's going to take a while because the stream is basically influencing this. Yes, we will not do that. Okay, so what I also need to do is I have to, so I'm not running my, I don't know how you guys do that, but I'm not running my Mongo all the time. So for me, that's not a service. So actually, oops, is that not how it's written? Is it not MongoD? Oh, hold on. I actually have, this is actually a different computer. I literally have to install Mongo. Okay. Sorry about that. That's a little detour that I have to take here because I'm basically, just getting my new setup done here. So, but that's okay. Let's quickly walk through how to install Mongo, right? So let's open up the basically the mongo.com website, and of course they're kind of trying to tell you to sell, to buy their cloud solution, which I really don't want to do. I don't know why I got to Cloud Atlas. I really want to have how do we get to the regular? Yeah, there we go. Cloud server tools. Yeah, I think that's it, right? So I have to go to, I'm running Ubuntu, but I mean, feel free to do whatever you want to. And then I'm not sure if this is actually the way to go about it. Install MongoDB Ubuntu. I'm expecting a little bit different here. Community edition of Ubuntu, yeah, that's probably more what I'm looking at here, right? With an end of life notice, okay. Okay, so here's the interesting part here, right? So in my Ubuntu version, so I need to get a, I basically need to get this repository in my system, so that's what I'm going to do, right? So I can more or less just copy this. Let's use this copy button. I wonder why the terminal doesn't get up here. It's already open. Okay, I'll paste that in here. Okay, so far so good. So the next steps that you see here is some stuff that we really don't have to worry about. This is only if you need to basically pack this. So, and here we have the Bionic. That's basically what we want it for. So it says create the list file in etc apt sources list mongodb 42.list for your version of Ubuntu. Ooh, what? Click on the appropriate tab for your version. Okay, got it. Great. Okay. So that's what we basically need to do, is to create that file. And I'm not sure if, okay, this echoes Debian. Okay, that's correct to etc app. Okay. All right. That's what we can do. And basically, actually this one we can close. Okay, so we get that one in here and run that. So now we basically have this done. So let's register it. Right, that's what they say with sudo apt-get update. So what we're doing now is basically like, okay, so we've got this repository now added. So now let them basically get the registrations or the repository library basically, so we know what commands exist and what don't. It's going to take a while. Yeah, it's going to take a while. Come on. Man, this is slow. I think I'm kind of like with the streaming thing that I'm trying out, you know, I'm going over Restream, basically getting the you know, a bunch of channels at the same time, just, you know, playing around with that. And I think that kind of completely ruins my my available ramps. But okay, now, so here we're done. So we have this now. So now we basically can run the sudo apt install, I suppose. But let's look at it here, down here. Yeah, here you see it. So this is what we want to do. Copy that as well. Jump back to the terminal and paste that in here. And then basically we are now running this, right? So now the actual installation happens. So that's a little bit the stuff that you need to go through if you're working on Linux. But once that's done, it should be done for good. Right, so while that is running, let's do it with that. So we can basically do this. Yeah, no, none of this is what we want. The package manager, no, that's not what we have. In the system, yeah. So this is basically if we want to start as a service, we don't really want that. We're gonna run it actually directly. So let's wait. Should be done in a second. Should be done in a second. Sorry for that delay. Okay, so now we're basically ready to go. So in my IDE, what you will notice in those kind of things, just in case you wonder, is that so if I now say MongoD, I expect this to, oh, actually, okay. I thought the path wouldn't be fast enough updated, but apparently that's okay. Except, oh, hold on. What is our issue here? Data directory, data DB not found. Okay. Let's create that. That's probably a permission issue. So if that looks into which context has to run, DB path is data DB. Let's quickly actually see that. So let's open up another one, and in here we basically going to say, okay, let's start with wait, where did it say? Data. Let's see if that even exists. It does not. Okay. No problem. So we want to make data. Okay. Probably have to do a permission thing here as well. What's sudo? Make your data. Okay. And then we have data, and then we will have a /db. So in our /db, actually what we want to do in that case is, no, let's make the directory first. Let's make the directory first. Sorry, again with sudo, of course. Database, okay. And what I want to basically, or actually, you know what? Let's see on which permission set you run. Yeah, I thought so. So let's make sure that we have the permission. Let's actually lower the chmod 775. Oh yeah, db. Okay, let's see how you feel about that. Why not? What does it say? Create a log file in the read-only directory. Uh-huh. Okay. Oh. Now what's my username? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Okay, sorry about that detour. That's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. Using method hybrid. Okay, so this is now running. This I can close, and here I can basically now start my React server. My Express server, which will run on port 8000 for now. Okay, fair enough. Let's do it. Okay. So that's running, which basically means if we were to go to our browser, which for whatever reason we have 3 open. Let's close that. Let's open that one and say okay. Here we have our localhost 8000. Okay. So here we finally are with our cookie clicker, right? So this principle is basically relatively simple. It counts like regardless of who clicks it, right? So if I can do that, but there's a world score, and everybody else can basically kind of work with that. And that's probably what we want to achieve here somehow, is to see, you know, where's this project going and what are we doing with it. So the first thing that you probably notice here is how that kind of works. This is a strange form of basically doing this, because you might actually hear, so I'm going to create here a little bit of a spin-off, right? I'm going to say a new branch. I call recommendations, and I might even do that as a pull request. So actually the only thing that you really want to do here is this, right? That's what you want to do. And then, so the score is never used, fair enough. And then here, so basically everything happens in this index file, right? Which is super confusing. So maybe to get back to that point, let's open the project again. The index requires, okay, Express Mongo, and do you see how it doesn't require any kind of other external files? So everything is happening here in this index, which is already interesting. So Pug, if you guys are not familiar with, with Pugs, so that's actually a way better template engine. I know that a lot of people, oh, I don't even have that. Let me get my Pug extension here. Yep. XJade, okay. It's a way better template engine than most others. The way of writing is pretty straightforward. You can learn this in a day, and the only trick is that sometimes, so when you have something like a P, right? Let's say in my footer I want to have a P tag, and what you would instinctively do is to say, okay, this goes in here, right? Here is the content of the paragraph. And as you can see how it's set marked, it's like that's not how it's interpreted. So what you have here is that, okay, so in this p tag, there is a here tag and an off tag, right? So in that case, you can kind of trick that and say like, well, you know, how about this? Oh, does that not work in this version anymore? Interesting. Okay, apparently that is not true what I just told you. That works different now. Do I have to pipe it now? Yeah, okay, I have to pipe it now. Ah, too bad. I like that. I like that, but okay. Fair enough. I haven't worked with that in years. It doesn't update who other people click through. Oh, by the way, the author is online apparently. That's cool. So it doesn't update when the other people click through. So what you're saying is that this is on a user basis. Let's check this out. Okay, so my object, why, who's, okay, so the name is score count, and then it should though, right? Is that not the intention of it? I mean, you basically said it's supposed to be a communal clicker game. So am I wrong assuming that this should run in that manner? Actually, let me check the wait, I'm gonna type because you're probably gonna hear me way too late. So you guys can follow in the chat, by the way, in case you're wondering. Just waiting for a response. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, so yes, what you probably want to look at for that to happen is, so of course, so I assume that in the, actually let me look at that, right? So what you do in your pug, okay, you're doing that with the index.js. Let's actually have a look at that quickly. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And that. Okay. So two things about that. To make your life easier, you can either abstract that and, you know, like create your own little handler for requests, or use something like Axios. I mean, that's maybe the most standard way of doing that. Otherwise, you're going to repeat the same thing over and over again. And there are little differences, you know, post. Yeah. And then let's see. Okay, interesting where you found that. Okay, but let's not get off topic. So what you probably want to do is, of course, you don't get informed, right? So that is something that if I don't do anything, then I'm not aware of what happens to anybody else. And that is, if I duplicate this is basically what we're talking about here, right? To say, okay, so if I click here, wouldn't it be nice if it updated over here, right? And the answer, of course, is yeah, that would be great. The easiest way to integrate that is to use socket.io to not get super complicated of what this is doing. This is basically a socket server. So if you look into, is this actually a working code? Can I have a working example here? demos. Okay. What's your nickname? This tester, I guess. Okay. So what you see here in the network, and we should probably actually refresh this, is so there are, let's look for, oh, sorry, I have to do that again. Okay. Let's look for WS. It's not even doing it. How do you work here? Okay. So rather than having a regular HTTP response, what you want to do is you want to have a open. And you see this doesn't really do anything, right? Do you see that in the list? Oh, that's a GIF. That's not even what I meant anyway. That's the WebSocket. So what you want to do is to basically have an open connection. So other than an HTTP request, which basically would shoot something against the server, be executed, and then get an answer, what you want is basically a open connection that would stay open, and if something happens, you can talk to the clients that are basically online. And this sounds complicated, but with Socket.io, this is super easy to implement. We can basically kind of try it out. So what we would do in the easiest example, let's maybe close one of those for now and say, okay, so in the easiest example, we would create I'm just going to quickly create a new file here for testing purposes that I'm going to be calling socket. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. It's right, and then I say okay. Well, first of all, let's quickly let that run. Actually, I have to shut that off anyway. No, let that run, and then I say okay, npmi, and then actually let me quickly check again. What's the package? What's the package? Yeah, okay, that's the. What's my package name here? Yeah, I get that. Okay, this explains basically everything. Where is it? Oh, Socket.io. Okay. Jesus. Okay, they're making things complicated. Socket.io. Okay. So what I can do now is to basically say, okay, let's require this. And I have no node support on this either. It's always the, with the new computers, until you actually have it set up, you never think of everything. Let me see. Coding assistance for Node. Got it. Okay. And then you say, is it still not kicking on? Oh, okay. And basically the way this works is, so let's make a super simple example. No, we're still in the wrong one. Where is it? Where is my IO on? Okay. So the idea is to say, and they integrate it directly in the same, but that's not really what I want to do. I want to basically kind of like play ping pong. So if I actually run this on my end, then basically I have the connection to talk to this, and on the see, you don't even have to do that on the front end. Okay, and they even built the listener for you as well, right? So what would actually talk? Oh, this is super convenient. This is really super convenient. This is really super convenient. So let's create like basically a really simple example. This is all a little bit too simple maybe. This is also a little bit too simple. Socket on. Okay, this is what we're going to take basically. And actually, we're going to make it with this emit. Just to everyone. All right, so if somebody connects, then we're immediately going to say, hey, and yeah, that'll do for now. That'll do for now. So we should probably call this IO, right, for it to make sense. And then we can, in theory, already run this. So as you have seen in the, and you probably have that in your, no, you plug that. So what we want to do here is basically say, okay, we're going to use, we're not even going to building that on our own. We are simply going to use what they gave us as a solution here. This guy. I don't know. This wants it to install though. That's probably. I mean, there's probably a CDN for it, right? Chat message scripts index HTML. Okay. Do they? Oh man, okay. So first thing, this is actually a little bit interesting. This is definitely what we need. So this gives it the same. This gives it the same as the HTTP. Okay, this basically binds. That's probably what you want to do in your case, right? Basically to bind your Express to the socket. And what I don't understand is, where do you want me to have this from? You can build that your own, but I'm just confused. I haven't worked with this for a while. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, okay, that's the backend. We've been here before. Am I missing something? Are they not providing that? That's all backend. That's all backend. Let's do it like this. Of course. Okay, so that should basically be what we want. Let's just assume that we have the newest one here. Okay. And then we can put that in here. And that should basically give us what we want from a client perspective. So now we basically, the only thing that we have to do, right, is to say like, okay, so let's start this now. Again, we're not using anything else, but the client itself, which I hope will work without having a node HTTP, but we will see that. Just say socket. So okay. So you're not a function. Okay. Oop, but it stopped. But it stopped. That is why you need basically something that listens to it. Okay, never mind. You know what we're going to do is, fuck it, we're actually going to do it in your application itself. Okay, and in that case, how do you have it? So that would be your app set. Yeah, that should be fine. Use static. We can do that afterwards, right? Yeah, that should be fine. And then we're supposed to have this one. Okay, now let's see how that behaves. And that's actually still running here. Nope, here. No, it doesn't like that. It doesn't like that. Let's actually look at the documentation again. We obviously missed something. Okay, so back from scratch. Okay, so here we have our express, and then I need to run the require HTTP. That's basically what we're missing for it to not to stop. Okay, I don't know why this is behaving so strange. Let's do that then and say, okay, so in that case, yeah, that is your app. Okay, that's cool. And then I'm gonna throw this in here and see what it says. Okay, so far so good. Now, of course, still nothing will happen. Let's get rid of that one. Still nothing had happened because our front end doesn't connect yet. So what we want to do is, if we look at actually this part is the important one, right? So that's what we kind of want to do, and I'm gonna kind of like just do that in here now. And say, okay, script, and then do we really need to type all of this? This can't be true. There must be, this really doesn't work anymore. Probably missing out on pug. So let's actually, I'm even too lazy to deal with it right now. Let's go to the public stuff and say source is JS socket test or socket JS. Fair enough. That shall do. And then we go to public JS, and then we say JavaScript file socket. Sure, fair enough. And basically then we can do something like, so that will kind of bitch on me, but that's not a module. So let me actually just see what you're using again. What are we doing here? Okay, found awesome, and then the pure index. And deload all of that to back. We probably need to have a document ready listener here, but we will see. So let socket equals, and what is it? IO dot so. IO. And now the question is basically, okay, what does IO do on the front end? Socket emit. Okay. That's all it is. It's probably just to emit. Yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. So if we start this again, and now basically say, okay, how would our, everything just froze. Okay, how would our clicker behave in this scenario? Oh, this is all that. Let's actually close all of this. Okay, that doesn't do anything. Probably we don't have a, yep. Service point with a 404. Okay, so we're polling the wrong one. Localhost 8000 / socket IO. Okay. Well, it expects it right there, huh? Why does it expect it right there? Let me have a look at that. I mean, by the way, you can already see, right, that what it's trying to do here is to basically generate this connection. So The socket IO, why are you not on? Okay, so at 8,000. Let's figure this out, huh? Let's figure this out. So what do they suggest us to do about this? What assumptions are made? Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Any events you want. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, that's our yeah, that's all not answering our question, right? The question is, why would you shoot against /socket IO? It apparently expects the script to be there. That's a really stupid question. That's a client.js. Okay. So how are we supposed to get that back in? I'm curious. I'm curious of what they thought here. So I'm literally going to say, let's do exactly what they've written and see what we get. If that exposes it, which I highly doubt, because how would it have that? Where is it again? So this little fella here. I have this little fella here, and I actually kind of wonder what, because we don't have that installed in the same way. Of course not, and it's also not, you know, put it also doesn't give us any kind of instructions, of what we're supposed to do here. Head to following snippet. Yeah. Takes load in the socket IO client, which exposes IO global and the endpoint get socket. Okay, so there seems to be some magic that I'm curious to figure out how that works, but that's going to be super interesting to figure out. Fascinating. Yeah, well, what a surprise. What a surprise. That does not work. Okay. Those little detours that all of a sudden cost you. So let's see. Okay. Takes the load of socket.io client, which exposes an IO global and the endpoint socket. Yeah, apparently not. can find it here. Yeah. Notify that since it defaults to trying to connect to the host, it serves the page. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. This socket IO.js. You know what? Let's do that. Let's actually do that and say, okay, we are going to steal it from here. Where was our socket IO? Socket IO. Socket IO client, sorry. Dist. And then socket IO.js. Simply going to copy this and place it in exactly this directory. Pretty sure that's not the way to go about it. And then in here, we're going to place it. No, not just copy the file. Yeah. Got it. Not yet. Let's actually try this out first. Oops, hold on. Let's see if we're running out of time. Okay, so that is the minified version of it. Got it. Don't know why it's called like that. So what does that tell us? And ironically, this should make a difference. I don't think I need to rerun this. Okay. So now it starts to get the polling data again. And that's a 404, so we're gonna get this /socket IO. Yeah, this must expose it. All right, so that is not what we, this is not what we want. We want to poll to index. And then connect. Okay, so that's something that, okay, we got that. Okay, so let's try the following and say, okay, fair enough, in our index pug, sorry, in our socket.js, let's specify to this. See if that works relative or absolute. We'll figure that out in a second. Okay, now it's trying to call, nope, that didn't change a bit. That shouldn't change a bit. Huh, I remember this to be easier, frankly. Why not? What's happening with this magic here? So let's socket IO client, which exposes an IO global. Let's use the local version of the client side. Let's walk through this top to bottom and see what we're missing. So we have our Express app, fair enough. Okay, that is pretty straightforward. That should actually work. Then we have our app get. That exposes the index. Okay, also so far so good. Okay, then we have something completely irrelevant. And okay, so that's what we're supposed to see now. And then we're installing the socket IO. And we're going to place that here and create the connection there. So a server that integrates it, a client library that loads the browser site, socket IO client. Yeah, so here is basically the question. So in the middle of the, okay. This folder or included via CDN. Yeah, how about this stuff? No, but hold on, the client library we have. That we have, that's not really the problem. Right, that should work. Client library we have. Yeah, let's use the official CDN here and see if that makes a difference. So in our pug, wherever we have this, let's use the CDN. Restart the server. Slowly Notman would have made sense. And then wonder where we go into. So this is what we kind of need to redirect here. Right now it goes to socket.io, which is the weird thing that basically bothers me. Socket, okay. Notice that I'm not specifying URL since it defaults to trying to connect to the host name that serves the page. Yeah, apparently not. Apparently not, that's the point. So in our index.js, it's going to get, okay, let's get rid of that one. It's trying to, where is it? Of the hostname it's currently in, because it's in JS socket.js. It's going to socket.io. So what we actually need to do socket.io client. We need some kind of, hold on, documentation. Where is my IO? Using Node with HTTP server, sending requests. Client, client, client. Where can we find this? WebSocket. Yeah, no. To namespace, yeah, no. No, none of that is helpful. Okay, so if we have the socket.js integration and we are firing, so this is in the context of JS socket.js, then you execute it and this doesn't do anything. But what if I were to say, let me try something out here. Localhost 8000. Just out of curiosity. Right, because in our actual index, we don't say anything. IO require. Yeah, let's try that out. Let's try that out. Does it change anything? No, it's just hardcore going to socket.io. Like, that's so strange. is really strange. Why is that the case? Why is that the case? IO. Client example. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Yeah, well, I figured as much. URL. Yeah, that does not make any sense. It does not make any sense, right? Just does not make any sense whatsoever. Curious now. Curious to know what's happening here. Ah. Okay, now it's listening at least. Wait, is this just because we cannot put the port in there? Hold on a second. I don't even have Node 1 installed. Okay. Then it goes to socket IO. Okay, so it doesn't like the port. That is interesting. What if I do this? Nope. Well, plus the socket probably isn't at the same. Now that I think of it, is the socket at the same port? Let's go back here. Where are we? On connection, okay. Port 3000. That's the big question, isn't it? I have to look deeper into this. I'm wondering if it interferes with the static. Right, so if this magically exposes something, then our culprit might be something like this. That is interesting. You know what? I will get back to you on that. Unfortunately, I have to jump off on a meeting. I thought this was way easier, but the general principle is the same, right? Where you say, okay, so you of course want to serve this over a where are we? Over a socket that would basically talk to everybody else. Of course, you can have like kind of a cheat mechanism where you say I'm simply going to reload this every couple of seconds, but that's not really what you want to do. So let me get back to you on that. I have really little explanation of why I can't define that that route accordingly. I don't know where that's going to /socket IO. Because the point is, like, if I guess it has something to do with the port for whatever reason. that you set the port somehow differently, right? Because if I were to go to localhost/sam, then my guess is that would work. No, not just as localhost. This is hilarious. Okay. Why? Why is it behaving like that? Yeah, so yeah, I can't, I will not be able to sleep before I figure this out, but unfortunately right now I have to jump off, so I'll get back to you and let you know. And sorry about that. This is something that I remember being super straightforward and easy, but I'm apparently missing the point. I'll figure it out and let you know.